Take a breath for a second, not because things are calm, but because this is the moment you finally stop running. You don't remember exactly when it started, do you? Just one day something felt different. Heavier, quieter, like the world lost a color you didn't even know you were relying on. Nothing dramatic happened. No explosion, no warning, just a slow realization that something inside you had shifted, and you couldn't unfeel it. You kept going, though. You always do. You smiled when you were supposed to. You showed up. You handled things. But somewhere between surviving and pretending everything was fine, you stopped recognizing yourself. And that's the part no one talks about. Because people love the idea of growth, but they hate the moment when growth starts hurting. They love the after photo. They don't want to sit with you in the dark while the change is happening. The truth is, pain doesn't arrive to destroy you. It arrives to wake you up. But waking up is uncomfortable. It means realizing how much of your life was built on waiting for the right moment, the right support, the right version of yourself. You waited for clarity. You waited for motivation. You waited for life to feel easier. And while you were waiting, life kept moving. That's not cruelty. That's reality. The world doesn't pause out of kindness. It doesn't slow down because you're tired. It just keeps going. And eventually, you're forced to decide whether you'll move with it or stay behind and watch. There's a quiet kind of loneliness that comes with this realization. Not the kind where you're physically alone, but the kind where you realize no one can walk this part for you. You start noticing how few people truly understand what you're carrying. How many conversations stay on the surface. How often you have to shrink your thoughts just to fit in. That's not arrogance. That's awareness. And awareness can feel isolating at first. Because once you see clearly, you can't unsee. You start noticing patterns in yourself, in others. You see how often comfort disguises itself as peace. How often distraction pretends to be happiness. You realize that a lot of what you called normal was just avoidance wearing a friendly face. And that realization hurts. But it's also honest. And honesty, even when it stings, is a kind of freedom. Here's the part no one prepares you for. Growth doesn't feel empowering at first. It feels like loss. You lose the version of yourself that needed approval. You lose the comfort of excuses. You lose the luxury of blaming everything else. You start to feel the weight of responsibility. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, heavy way that sits in your chest. You realize that no one is coming to rescue you. And strangely, that hurts and frees you at the same time. Because if no one is coming, then you're not waiting anymore. You're choosing. Every small decision starts to matter. How you spend your mornings, what you tolerate, what you avoid, what you keep telling yourself when no one else is listening. This is where discipline begins. Not as punishment, but as self-respect. Not loud, not glamorous, just consistent, just honest, just you, showing up even when motivation doesn't. You might feel different now, a little quieter, a little more serious, less interested in noise, less patient with excuses, especially your own. That doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you're changing, and change always feels like loss before it feels like strength. You're not broken, you're becoming aware. And awareness is uncomfortable because it demands responsibility. It asks you to stop running, to stop pretending, to face who you are and who you could become. This is the moment where many people turn back. They soften the truth. They numb the feeling. They distract themselves into comfort again. But you're still here, still listening, still breathing through the discomfort instead of escaping it. That matters more than you think, because this isn't the end of anything. It's the beginning of something heavier and far more real. You're not strong yet, but you're awake. And once you're awake, sleeping through your life is no longer an option. The next part won't be gentle. It will ask more of you. But if you stay, you'll start to understand what this pressure is really doing to you and why it had to hurt first. Something changes after the awakening. Not all at once, not dramatically. It's quieter than that. You wake up one day and realize the noise inside your head has shifted. Not gone, just sharper, more focused. You're not confused anymore. You're tired, but clear. And that clarity is dangerous, because once you see what you've been avoiding, there's no unseeing it. This is where the real work begins. Not the kind you post about, not the kind anyone claps for. This is the work that happens when no one's watching, when motivation is gone, when excitement has burned off, and all that's left is you and the decision to keep going anyway. This is the Forge, and the Forge doesn't care how you feel. At first, discipline feels like punishment. You wake up, and your body doesn't want to move. Your mind negotiates, just today, just this once. You've earned a break, and sometimes you listen. But each time you do, something small weakens inside you. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. That's the part most people miss. Weakness doesn't arrive screaming. It whispers. It sounds reasonable. It sounds kind. It sounds like self-care. But deep down, you know the difference between rest and avoidance. And once you know, you can't pretend you don't. That's when the pressure starts to build. Because now every choice carries weight. Every skipped effort echoes longer. Every kept promise, even the smallest one, hits differently. You start to realize that discipline isn't about punishment. It's about alignment. It's about becoming someone who does what they said they would do. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one would blame you for stopping. Especially then, this is where isolation creeps in. Not because you pushed people away, but because your rhythm no longer matches theirs. You move differently now. You wake earlier. You think deeper. You question things you used to accept. Conversations start to feel shallow. Complaints start to feel repetitive. Excuses start to feel loud. You don't hate anyone. You're just growing out of spaces that can't hold you anymore. And that's lonely, because growth doesn't come with applause. No one throws a celebration for the nights you fought your own mind and won. No, one sees the restraint it takes to stay focused when everything in you wants comfort. No one sees the discipline it takes to keep showing up when progress feels invisible. But you see it, and that's where something dangerous begins to form. Self-respect, not the loud kind, not the ego-driven kind, the quiet kind. The kind that makes it harder to lie to yourself. The kind that raises your standards without asking permission. The kind that starts demanding more from you. Not out of hatred, but out of truth. This is the phase where excuses start to die. Not all at once. Slowly, painfully, one by one. You notice how often you used to say, later. How often you blamed circumstances. How often you waited for motivation instead of building momentum. And instead of shaming yourself, you do something new. You take responsibility, not in a dramatic way, in a grounded, heavy way. You stop romanticizing your struggle. You stop needing your pain to be seen. You just handle it, day by day, rep by rep, choice by choice. This is where strength starts to look boring from the outside. No speeches, no hype, just consistency. But inside, something is changing. You're becoming dependable to yourself, and that's rare. Most people break promises to themselves so often that they stop believing their own word. You're rebuilding that trust quietly, and it's uncomfortable because now, when you fail, you feel it deeper. You don't get to hide behind excuses anymore. But when you win, even in small ways, it hits harder too. There's pride in that, not arrogance. Grounded pride, the kind that doesn't need validation. The Forge doesn't just build strength, it strips away illusions. You start seeing how much of your old identity was built around comfort, approval and distraction, how many things you chased because you were afraid to sit still, how often you confused movement with progress. That awareness can be brutal. It can make you grieve versions of yourself you didn't even realize you were holding on to. But grief is part of growth. You can't become something new without letting something old die. And this death is quiet. It happens in routines, in habits, in the way you speak to yourself. The old voice, the one that panicked, doubted, over-explained, starts to fade. A new one takes its place, calmer, sharper, less emotional, not cold, just steady. This is where discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes identity. You don't train because you're motivated. You train because it's who you are now. You don't push because you're chasing approval. You push because stagnation feels worse than effort. And that's the shift. That's the line most people never cross. You're not transformed yet, not even close, but you're being reshaped. The softness is burning off. The noise is fading. The excuses are losing their grip. What's left is something raw, something honest, something that doesn't need to prove itself. And that's dangerous, in the best way, because when you stop needing permission, when you stop waiting to be seen, when you stop negotiating with your potential, you become unpredictable, uncomfortable, unstoppable, not because you're special, but because you stayed. You stayed when it got boring. You stayed when it got lonely. You stayed when it would have been easier to quit quietly. And that's what forges strength. Not hype, not motivation, but endurance. The kind that doesn't announce itself, the kind that changes everything. And you're not done yet. The next phase won't just challenge you. It will strip you. It will demand a sacrifice most people never make, their old identity. And once that begins, there's no going back. There comes a moment when effort isn't enough anymore. When discipline alone stops satisfying the pressure building inside you. When you realize this isn't about improvement anymore, it's about transformation. And transformation doesn't negotiate. It takes. Quietly, completely. This is where most people turn back. Because this is where it stops feeling like growth and starts feeling like loss. Not the dramatic kind, the slow kind. The kind where you wake up one day and realize you don't recognize the person you used to be, and you don't miss them the way you thought you would. The old comforts stop working. The old distractions feel empty. The old motivations feel childish. You try to reach for them out of habit, and they don't reach back. That's when it hits you. You're outgrowing your former self. And growth, real growth, is violent in its own quiet way. This is where the internal war begins. Not against the world, against you. The part of you that wants ease. The part that wants to feel special without earning it. The part that wants results without sacrifice. That part gets louder right before it dies. It bargains. It's not that serious. You deserve a break. You've already done enough. But you can feel the lie in it now. Because comfort has a voice, and it always sounds reasonable. You don't defeat it with anger. You defeat it with refusal. You stop feeding it attention. You stop negotiating with your weakness. You stop explaining yourself, and slowly, something inside you starves. Not your ambition, your excuses, your dependency, your need to be understood. That's the death no one prepares you for. The death of needing approval. The death of wanting to be seen as good, or nice, or talented. You stop chasing labels. You start chasing standards. This is where the loneliness deepens. Not because you're alone, but because you're no longer relatable. Your priorities don't line up anymore. Your silence feels heavier. Your focus feels intimidating. People sense the shift, even if they can't name it. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're distant. They'll say you're too serious. What they mean is, you no longer make them comfortable. And that's not your problem, because comfort was never your destination. Strength was, and strength requires separation. You can't build a new self while clinging to the old crowd, old habits, old patterns. Something has to be cut away, and it hurts. It hurts because it's real. There's a moment, quiet, uncelebrated, where you realize you don't crave validation anymore. You don't need applause. You don't need to be understood. You just need to be honest with yourself, and that honesty is brutal. It forces you to confront your limits, not to accept them, but to challenge them without mercy. You stop asking, can I do this? You start asking, what happens if I don't stop? You train when you're tired. You show up when it's inconvenient. You push when the voice in your head says it's pointless, not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand something now. Pain is temporary. Regret is permanent. And that understanding changes everything. This is where hunger replaces hope. Hope waits. Hunger moves. Hope wishes. Hunger takes. You're no longer dreaming about the person you want to become. You're carving them out of yourself. Slowly, relentlessly, with every disciplined choice, the old you fades a little more. The one who doubted, the one who hesitated, the one who needed permission. And in that fading, something colder and steadier takes shape. Not cruel, not heartless, just unshakable. You begin to trust yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you keep showing up. You stop romanticizing the struggle. You accept it as the cost, as the price of becoming someone unbreakable. And deep down, beneath the fatigue and the silence, there's a quiet certainty growing. A sense that no matter what comes next, you will endure it. You're not chasing transformation anymore. You're in it, and it's almost complete. One final layer remains. The last attachment, the final illusion. And when that breaks, what's left won't be a person. It will be something else entirely. Something forged, something inevitable. There is a moment, quiet, almost unnoticeable, when you realize something has ended. Not with drama, not with closure, just absence. The fear isn't there anymore. The doubt doesn't argue back. The noise that once filled your head has gone still. And in that silence, you understand something terrifying and powerful. You are no longer becoming. You have become. Not finished, not perfected, but forged. This is where the last illusion dies. The idea that there is a finish line waiting for you. There isn't. There never was. There is only continuation, movement, pressure. The work does not end because you improved. It deepens because you did. You don't wake up chasing motivation anymore. You wake up already moving, not driven by emotion, not fueled by excitement, driven by alignment, by a quiet certainty that this is who you are now, and there is no going back. You feel it in how you carry yourself. Your steps are heavier, not from exhaustion, but from grounding. Your eyes don't search the room anymore. They measure it. You don't need to announce yourself. Your presence does the work. The world hasn't gotten easier. You've just stopped asking it to be. Pressure no longer feels like an enemy. It feels familiar, like gravity, something that simply exists and strengthens you every time you move through it. You don't resist the weight anymore. You use it. That's the difference. There is no rush now, no urgency to prove, no hunger for applause. The need to be seen burned out somewhere along the way. What remains is something colder and cleaner. Purpose without emotion, focus without noise, discipline without drama. You don't chase motivation because you understand its weakness. Motivation fades, systems remain, and you have become a system. You wake, you act, you endure, you repeat, not because you're obsessed, because this is who you are. And once identity replaces effort, the game changes completely. You don't measure progress in wins anymore. You measure it in consistency, in how little you negotiate with yourself, in how rarely you break your word. You've learned that strength isn't loud. It doesn't flex. It doesn't beg for recognition. It simply exists, undeniable, immovable, and the world feels it. People may not understand what changed. They'll just feel it. A shift in the air when you enter a room, a weight in your silence, a certainty in your stillness. You don't need to explain. You don't need to defend. You don't need to prove anything, because you are no longer chasing potential. You are living it. The war never ends, and that's the truth most people can't accept. There is no final victory, no moment where you can rest forever, no version of life where struggle disappears. But that's not a curse, that's the power, because you no longer fear the fight. You don't dread the grind, you don't ask when it will be over. You've made peace with the fact that this constant sharpening, this endless becoming, this quiet, relentless forward motion is the point. You are not searching for comfort. You are built for pressure. You are not chasing happiness. You are becoming unbreakable, and when the world pushes back, as it always does, you won't flinch, you won't complain, you won't retreat. You'll stand there, steady and silent, a force shaped by struggle, unmoved by chaos, unbothered by noise, not because you feel powerful, but because you are, and you will keep going, not for glory, not for recognition, not for anyone watching. You will keep going because stopping is no longer part of who you are. This isn't an ending, it's a state of being, a rhythm, a way of existing, unfinished, unbreakable, unavoidable, and it doesn't end. It never does.